Awesome. So, Such a Pretty Girl was it is a very amazing short. I was caught off guard by its portrayals. For you, as the filmmaker, why was this a story that you had to tell?
It's a deeply personal story. It's hard to talk about this without sort of giving away what some people don't figure out until the end of the film. But but it's based on my experience as a mom. I have a child who is based on the character Finn, and their relationship with my own father was the basis for Such a Pretty Girl. So I had written actually, I have two different pilot scripts based on that triangle relationship, a mother, her child, and her own father. And the difficulties between the generations and all of those things. I'd written two pilot scripts. One's a half hour, one's an hour long. And they'd gotten a lot of attention, but it's very hard to get a television show made. It's not like it's easy to get a movie made, but I do know how to get a movie made. So I took the pilot and changed it into a feature script. And the short that you saw, while it's its own standalone story, is also a proof of concept for that feature.
Oh, that's incredible. One of the things that really caught my attention was the mother's reactions. Since this is such a personal project for you, how do you convey those emotions? Because it seemed very true to life. It seemed like an actual reaction to something going on.
Yeah, I mean, I really based it on my own experience when my daughter was going through a gender journey of her own. I consider myself to be very progressive,
Mhm,
and still, I can't deny that when that happened, there were parts of me that um, they didn't exactly push against it, but I had questions and I had concerns, and it wasn't as if it was just suddenly like, oh, okay, I guess we're going this way. And to be honest, some of my own reactions surprised me because I do think of myself as
mhm,
highly progressive. I am highly progressive. Um, I so I was basing the character of Meg, the mother in the film.
mhm,
Her reactions are a very terse encapsulation of what I experienced over a longer period of time, right? She has moments to make a choice,
mhm.
whereas I had many opportunities to make choices over and over again and to do things better and to do things differently. So it was based on my own experience and also the experience of other parents I know who are going or have gone through something like this. I think it's such a legitimate thing to say that every person has their own journey with it, parents and children alike, and nobody's journey is right or wrong. I think as long as we are trying to hold each other with care and keeping our minds open and just giving each other a lot of grace. So that's how where I based her character from.
Awesome. And uh, a little. I don't want to spoil anything either, but going with. I'm trying to word this properly. So for a lot of us, we believe ourselves to be progressive, and yet when situations like this come up, it's difficult. We as a Hispanic person, a lot of our community, it's we're okay with it as long as it's not in our family.
Yes.
So having this both in your family and having to tell this story gives light to a community that is very underspoken and very underrepresented. Represented. How do you feel when this short is shown and the reaction you get to it?
Well, what's funny is I haven't seen it with an audience yet. That's going to happen for the first time in April when we make our festival premiere at the Minneapolis St. Paul International Film Festival, and then we have other festivals coming after that. I've only gotten the reaction of people that I've trusted to send this to one, and the response has been incredibly gratifying. But I think it's really important, and I always include this in director's notes when I'm writing about the film. Um, this film is actually for the people like my dad,
Mhm.
who, like you shared because of your culture, perhaps my culture is Irish Catholic. There's a lot of, right, difficulty there.
Yeah.
Um, I made this movie in the hopes that I could spare. It's two things. It's a tribute to my child and the children like my child, but it's sort of, I hope it's a kind of a wake up call to the people like my dad, to spare them the loss that he experienced, because he really missed out on knowing this incredible person,
Mhm.
his grandchild. That's not what happens in the film. That's what happened in my real life. But uh, I want I'm hoping that when people see this film, that I'm not just preaching to the choir.
Mhm.
I hope that I reach people like my dad and make them think maybe twice about how they might respond. Um, because if they do better, then our children do better.
Mhm. Definitely. And going with that, making this into a longer feature, how do you show a progressive family without shoving a liberal agenda down somebody's throat?
Yeah, well, this is not a progressive family. In the larger feature, they are a sort of rowdy Irish Catholic brood. All have different POVs on different topics.
Okay.
They have different relationships to their religion. And in the feature, Finn's identity is not the focus of the film. It's just one part of it, which is something that's very important to me. I mean, there is a place for films that center stories about transgender people and people who are on the gender spectrum or on a gender journey. This film is really about a family that has a lot of different beliefs about a lot of different things and are navigating how to love each other in the midst of all of that. And it's also very much about how the expectations of our parents continue to loom so large over us, no matter how old we are. I really wanted to explore those things. And, because the short it's a limited time frame, I really love a 6 or 7 minute
Mhm.
short. I made another before that was very successful. I like to get in and get out and try to pack a lot into a little bit of time. I think it's difficult to do, and if you can do it well, I always appreciate films like that. I don't want to stay longer than I need to in
Mhm.
a short film, but the feature is going to give us an opportunity to show sides of the family that aren't necessarily in the short, and also people in the family who aren't in the short. And I imagine the tone being a lot more irreverent and even funny. It's a story about a very messy family trying to find its way, and the Meg and Frank and Finn piece of it all is part of that, but it's not the entire spine of the story.
Oh, awesome. For this film, your camera placement was incredible. It's very intimate when it needs to and pulls out to show uh more range in this. What was it, the discussion with your cinematographer like in order to get such a personal type of feel to this short?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Our DP is amazing. Her name's Kat White. And uh, I knew I wanted to work with her right from the get-go. And we talked a lot at first about, well, would we be handheld or would we be on sticks? And I really wanted the camera to just be like, like solidly placed somewhere where it was capturing what was going on, as opposed to like handheld just didn't make a lot of sense for us in this film. And we chose that aspect ratio because it's very boxy. The four
Hmm.
three is very boxy. And, uh, you know, to me, what that helps visually represent is like being trapped.
Hmm.
We set up a lot of our shots that way. You know, there's a shot where Meg goes into the hallway and we're actually peering at her from a distance, from further away than we normally are, and she's sort of trapped between two planes, um, and caught between the two rooms.
Hmm.
And I really wanted to give a sense of, for Meg especially, a woman who feels trapped in lots of ways, and isn't sure which way to go. Um, I also just am in love with all three of my actors, and anytime I was able to be like right there on their faces, that's where I wanted to be. So much, I think, of what happens in these performances is happening really subtly behind the eyes. Like it's it's not, most of it is not in the dialogue.
Hmm.
You know,
Well,
it's in what's happening underneath. And so being able to just be right there with them was really important to me. And Kat and I talked a lot about that.
mhm, definitely. Well, congratulations on this short. It is a phenomenal watch. It is very impactful. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Jesus. It was really nice talking to you.